Agent 47, the guy you play as in the Hitman series, is one hell of a bald guy. This dude is basically a much balder Michael Weston from Burn Notice. Now that we've gotten our outdated TV show reference out of the way, let's sneak into the world of Hitman and find out exactly what is needed to create an unstoppable killing machine. Let's see, you take one strangling wire, a dollop of shaving cream, then simply add a gallon of head polish, and poof! You've got Agent 47, the one-man wrecking crew that could stealthily kill the Pope while he's still in the Pope-mobile. But surely there must be something more to this assassin than his extremely bald head. Oh look, a barcode on the back of his extremely bald head. Perhaps we'll analyze the significance of that later on in this video. But for now, it's time to prepare your bottom for death, murder, and a lot of strippers. Get your juicy butt cheeks ready for the story you never knew. With this video's release on the eve of the newest Hitman launch, it's only fitting that we begin Mr. 47's story with the game that started it all. Hitman codename 47. Released all the way back in 2000, the original Hitman game shows just how far we've come in those 16 years, and also leaves clues about Agent 47's past. Through the course of the game, it is revealed that 47 is actually a clone, created by a man named Dr. Ort Meyer. Despite popular opinion, the good doctor is actually not related to Oscar Mayer, although he is full of baloney. The original Hitman game takes 47 through a journey that starts with Dr. Ort Meyer as a guiding force, only to come full circle by the end of the game, as Agent 47 coldly snaps the doctor's neck. 47 clearly prefers cold-blooded murder over cold cuts. Without boring the crap out of you, there are some key takeaways from this first installment. 47's name implies that there were 46 failed or lesser experiments before his perfection. Being a clone, he was genetically engineered to be the perfect killer from a host of genetic donors. His development and creation were carefully sculpted to make him a master assassin while molding his personality to be cold and unemotional. His genetic donors were from around the world, giving him an unnatural ability to look as though he fits in anywhere. As for his early life, the bald wonder grew up in an asylum run by Dr. Ort Meyer. During his childhood and adolescence, the doc felt that 47 was his most promising creation. The young hitman was quiet and antisocial, except for an incident where the boy adopted a runaway lab rabbit. That about covers the background for the first game that you need to know for now. So far, it's been a lovely story of genetic cloning, assassination, and evil doctors. But there's more to it than that. Within the Hitman storyline is an underlying question. If someone is genetically created and trained from birth to be something, does that mean they must follow that path? We begin to see this question forming in the backstory of our bred Hitman for hire. He was genetically designed to be antisocial and to not have emotions in addition to having the perfect human physique. Yet when he was young, we see that 47 cared for a lost rabbit, and he intentionally tries not to hurt innocents unless they know too much or are in the way of completing his mission. These moral ideals and emotional attachments shouldn't be present in the best killer for hire in the world, let alone a man that was genetically and socially engineered to not give a fuck about fuzzy bunnies or human lives. Yet his humanity breaks through every once in a while. With that in mind, let's keep an eye out for future cracks in this assassin's persona during his second game. Hitman 2: Silent Assassin. The second game picks up where the first one left off. After Ort Meyer's death, our hero unceremoniously resigns from his position in the ICA by faking his own death. The ICA, by the way, is the International Contract Agency and is basically 47's employer. With no one from his past knowing he's alive, Agent 47 attempts to leave a life of killing by retreating to a church in Sicily. There, he shows off his amazing gardening skills as he attempts to assimilate to a regular life. It's interesting that a man who was created to destroy life could be so skilled in growing life as well. Anyway, the church is run by Father Vittorio, a kinda priest who becomes 47's mentor and best friend. Of course, shit hits the fan and Father Vittorio is kidnapped, to which 47 basically says, well, Fuck. And goes back to work for the ICA under an agreement that the agency will help find the missing priest guy. Eventually, Mr. 47 plows through Sicilian and Russian mafia bosses to finally find his priestly companion. Father Vittorio, now free of his captors, begs 47 to lead a righteous path and give up the life of a killer. However, 47 decides that he is incapable of finding the inner peace that he had sought at the beginning of the game and resumes his life as a hitman. Hitman's second installment is intriguing because the entire game revolves around 47 attempting to find Father Vittorio, and yet 47 is supposedly a man without emotional pulls. Obviously, Vittorio meant a lot to 47, as we can see by the drastic steps he went through to save the priest. We see that 47 is again struggling with his genetic mold and upbringing versus these desires to feel and maintain morals. This is exemplified even more by his gardening role at the church. A cold-blooded killer lacking the emotions of a normally reared human would not have any interest in gardening. Gardening, of course, creates life. It's making something from basically nothing, nurturing it, caring for it, loving it. The contrast between this lifestyle and 47's assassin life is important and should not be overlooked, because it shows that beneath his hardened murdery exterior, the man is human, with the wants and needs of people like you and me. This is the point in the video where we usually ask you a leading question, so here it is. Is there a deeper meaning behind the cracks in 47's emotional armor? Maybe some foreshadowing to a connection in real life? We'll see, but we still have to entertain you perky fellows for the remainder of the video. So take your hand out of your pants. We're not finished yet. Let's move on to Hitman Blood Money for our next clue into the mind of this bald and compelling protagonist. The plot of the game is yet another romp into murder, espionage, and good old-fashioned funeral murder. What's better than one dead guy? All the dead guys! Besides an ultra-sweet back from the dead funeral rampage, the most important part of this game for our purposes is 47's relationship with this bird. Yes, a bird. Throughout the game, it's clear that 47 had grown fond of the cute little guy. Who could blame him? But by the end, in order to help conceal his whereabouts, 47 coldly snaps the birdie's neck. If only PETA was there! This speaks to the humanity peeking out of the cracks in 47's murder armor that we've been talking about. Our favorite hitman seems to be pulled in two different directions. He can at one point show affection for a cute animal friend only to murder that same animal friend later on a moment's notice. There is the pure, innocent side of him that feels human. And then there's the side of him that snaps necks like he's listening to a catchy song. But which side of Big Baldy is the real 47? Taking all the evidence into account, the real 47 is clearly the human side. Despite years of training and genetic tampering, Mr. 47 continuously tries to pull back from a life of murder, but keeps falling back into the abyss. He feels trapped by his past, but deep down, he just wants to cuddle bunnies and birdies and garden with priests. But there's one more piece of evidence to really drive the point home and convince all you skeptical YouTubers out there. In Hitman Absolution, 47's non-emotions are taken on a roller coaster ride of fuckery as his most trusted handler from the agency, Diana Burnwood, goes rogue. 47 is contracted to kill Diana, and in a not-so-cold-blooded way, Agent 47 wounds her and comforts his dying friend. Bam! That's superhumanity coming out of that emotional armor. After leaving his friend to die, 47 eventually goes on a rescue mission for the girl Diana was trying to save. Her name is Victoria, and she's a young clone that is about to suffer the same fate that 47 suffered in his youth. Is this guy a murderer or a hero? And if clones trained for murder are named like Agent 47, Victoria's real name must be Agent 69! Also, Diana survived. Oh, and that barcode on the back of 47's neck? Why, it's symbolism, of course. Symbolism for the branding that the world has unfairly put on him. That of a cold-blooded killer, a murderer. It's literally on the back of his mind. Get it? Yeah, you get it. And so, we've seen throughout 47's life the inner conflict that has plagued him since childhood. Raised and genetically bred to be a cold-blooded killer, 47's true personality comes out in quiet moments of gardening and the comforting of a friend. 47's life is a continuous struggle between what he was bred to be and who he truly is. But is there something we can learn from this tragic story? I think so. Just as 47 was bred to be something he isn't, most of us are told when we're young to be someone we aren't. To be good little workers and to not do anything too out of the ordinary. To be a doctor or lawyer, someone respected in society, even if what we really want to do is make poop jokes on the internet. Oh, just us? Okay. While 47 is obviously an extreme case, being a murderer and all, the parallels are undeniable. Because at his core, 47 is a man being pulled in two directions. Between what he was meant to be and who he truly is. When the world pulls at you and says who you are meant to be, which path will you follow? With a life lesson from a game about murder in hand, that's the story you never knew. Who said you couldn't learn anything from killing prostitutes? Take that, Mom! If you'd like to learn more about the awesome deeper meaning to your favorite video games, hit that shiny red subscribe button down below. Or, if you'd like another sample before you make such a big commitment, here's a story you never knew about Fallout, which probably analyzes the real-life implications of that game. Probably. I don't know. It's been a while.